So here we are a week and 2 days later, exactly. And I'm going to show you how the plants that I transplanted are doing. All right, let's start with this one. So you can see that some parts of the plant have kind of dried out. But what's interesting is that even though certain parts of it have dried out, for example, this part right here at the bottom, there's still live growth coming up at the top of those stems. So plants just have a really interesting way of conserving energy when they're going through, I guess you can say, an event like this. But this lavender is still alive. They're still drooping here, but it's still alive. So I did check the soil. It's still moist. I'm not watering unless I really need to, and that soil has completely dried out. So that's that. Now here we have a catmint nepeta. The last clip I showed you guys, the leaves of this plant were kind of curled. That's just their way of, again, conserving energy and moisture, especially when it's getting direct sun and it's stressed out. But here we are a week and 2 days later. The same leaves that were curled up, they're looking perfectly fine. This plant is still alive. This lavender here, I feel, is the plant that's having the most trouble with transplanting. When I had taken it out of its nursery pot last year and put it in the ground, this is the way it looked like. It did the same thing, and I know it looks completely dead. But I'm going to show you guys that this plant is not dead. Here are 2 ways you can tell if a plant that you've moved into the ground from a different location or from its nursery pot into the ground is still alive or if it's dead. So this lavender, it has some woody stems at the bottom. This is very helpful, especially this method is helpful especially with plants that have woody stems. So see this, we'll take this one here, this woody stem. I call this the scratch test. This is the first way you can tell if a plant is still alive or dead. You take your finger, if you have fingernails, and you literally scratch one part of that woody stem. So that's where I scratched. You see the stem is still green. It has this fleshy appearance to it, almost like a yellowish beige green color. That means it's still alive. So even though on the outside it looks like it's dead, it's not. Another way that you can tell if a plant is dead or alive, we'll go to this catmint here, is by looking at the color of the stems. You can't really do this with every single perennial because each plant is different. But this perennial, you see it has vivid green stems, and then it has stems here that are just brown. And when you look at the stems that are brown, they're hollow. So if you look at the middle of the stem, it looks like there's a hole inside of them, right in the middle. That means these stems are dead. There's no life in them. So if you wanted to clean the plant up, you could actually cut these stems back. I'm not going to do that, but this is a second way that you can tell if part of a plant is dead or if the entire plant is dead. I'm going to demonstrate the scratch test with this other lavender that I have here. So we're gonna take a stem. Let's take this one, which still has a lot of growth at the top, but it's pretty bare at the bottom. So let's just make sure that this is still alive. I scratch, see, still alive. So this not only works with woody perennials. Woody perennials are what we call perennials that have a woody base to them, kind of like the lavender plants that I showed you guys. They're woody perennials. You can do this with annuals, you can do this with certain other plants as well. So I'm going to demonstrate here on this annual geranium that I have by my front door. I'm going to take a stem. Let's take this one, and I'm going to scratch right here. This one you can't really tell that much, it's not that obvious, but this is where I scratched, and it's still very, very green. Now, if you wanted to go a step further in helping your plants kind of get through that transplant process, you can just trim off the flowers off of the top of them so that they're expending their energy into root development instead of expending their energy into maintaining their flowers and flowering. So I could, for example, do that with my lavender plants. And I haven't done it, honestly, because it's been hot and I've been avoiding it. But that is something else that you can do. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you liked it, just give my video a like and subscribe to my channel. Also leave a comment if you've tried the scratch method or not.